is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Jared Goff and that big contract that he comes with. Could the Lions actually consider restructuring his contract? Let's get it started.
You know, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to our video. Glad you guys are here. And today we're talking about Goff. Big bag of money that the Lions owe Jared Goff once he enters Detroit. So the Lions traded Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff. So they take on Jared Goff in this very big contract that was signed to a 4-year deal. And they also have that dead hit from Matthew Stafford being traded away. Now, I haven't talked about the Lions restructuring Jared Goff very often because my thought is I don't want to restructure this guy. I like having the out. You know, where after a couple of years, if I'm not sold, I can go a different direction. However, depending on how the Lions actually restructure this thing, they may not be in a really bad situation for the upcoming years. It may not be that bad, depending on how they do it and how much they restructure. Now, I want to make this clear right now. I'm not pushing for a Goff restructure. That's not what this video is. It's simply just kind of going through what the numbers would look like if the Lions considered this as an option, because they could consider this as an option because of all the circumstances. By the way, I am squishing this little, earbud thing. You guys know how you buy earbuds. I don't know if anybody does that anymore. I couldn't grab the headphones. They literally locked them on the shelf. But I don't know why, but they come with these. Like, does anybody actually use these? Like, oh, I'm gonna switch out my earbud squishers and put them on and stick it. Don't. I'm just gonna use these. I mean, these are the same size. These are actually the same size. I think these are the same. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but they're fun to play with. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just a toy. All right. So we're gonna talk about this Goff contract now. Basically, what a restructure would do simply is take money from the base salary from Jared Goff for 2021, and it would spread it out throughout the years as a signing bonus. Now, I was working on this yesterday trying to figure out it. I got frustrated after a few hours. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm not worrying about this anymore. I'm working on that mock off season. But then this morning, I got back at it, and I think I have a pretty good feel for how this is going to work. So yes, it takes the base salary from Goff's contract, which is over $25 million. You pick how much you want to restructure from that, and then they'll spread that out as a signing bonus every year on his deal. Now, yes, that's guaranteed money. But for Jared Goff, he gets that money straight up. He gets that thing up front. So if you restructure 15, Jared Goff, here's $15 million. Oh, snap. So he's going to love it. But for the Lions, for the cap situation, it would spread it out throughout the years. It wouldn't all go on one season. So it saves you money basically for the current season, which you see teams that are trying to make super push and things like that do. So why would the Lions do that, right? I mean, that's the big question. Well, I think the biggest reason this even gets talked about is just because of the weird season and off season that we're in. So we're coming off a year with COVID where we didn't have fans, and the salary cap is super low. Right now it's set at 180, which is the league minimum. And if it is at that, I think the Lions are going to owe 8.3. They're going to be $8.3 million over the cap, roughly. So that's not a great situation to be in. Now, we're hoping that goes up. And for the worst, the Lions are not going to be in a great situation financially. They're going to have to make a lot of moves. Now, they can do it. I did the mock-off season yesterday. I did it with the floor that was set for the salary cap for the year. But you did notice that I didn't bring back Kenny Golladay. See, bringing back Golladay is going to be super, super difficult because if they do tag him, like what the rumblings are, and they give him $16 million for just this season alone, which would be about that, it's going to be really difficult because you have to have that money for just this season. And since it's not an extension, you can't backload it because it's just 1 year. So you're giving them that money for one season. So it's going to be really difficult to come with that money if the Lions really want to do that. Now, if they don't want to bring it back, if they don't feel like they need to, or they can restructure them and backload it, then we could be, looking at something different here. But let's talk about it. Let's just kind of break down the numbers. His salary, $25.6 million for 2021, which is about 14.6% of the cap for the season, which is a lot of money. But if the Lions wanted to save some money, try to get in a better situation financially, restructure some of it, put it throughout the years. Now, usually thought, okay, well, if they do that, then they're in trouble because, they won't have that out. They will still have an out. They're just going to owe some money. I mean, it's not going to be a ton, but they could owe some money. It depends on how much they restructure. So the maximum that I've seen the Lions restructure saves them about $21 million this season. And they could do that. I think that's like the maximum maybe the site lets you do, or that's maximum they can do in general. But it would save you about $21 million for this season. The Lions could do that much if they wanted to. You don't have to, though. But if you save about $21 million for this year, a maximum restructure would mean that you would be giving a bonus of $6.79 million each season. So that's how it's spread out over the rest of the years on Jared Goff's contract that he currently has right now. But what that means is that after 2022, 2023, we're talking about potentially that out. If you wanted to go away from Jared Goff in 2023, well, then your dead money would be $13.58 million. million because, there's still that bonus, which is basically taking that year and 2024, putting them together. So it's $13.58 million. Now, if you do it after 2023 into 2024, then that dead money is $6.79 million. So just taking what you restructured, spreading it out through the years, you're paying it as a bonus year after year after year, kind of dividing it. But then if you want to have that potential out, now whatever money is left there on that bonus, you are guaranteed to pay. The reason it's called dead money is because the player's not there, but you still owe that money. That's why there's no dead money if he's not there, because there is no guarantees in 2023 and 2024. So if he's not there, there is no dead money because you're not still paying him money for him not being there. It turns into dead money when he's not there. That's why there's Stafford dead money for this year, which is like $14 million, because we're still paying that, yet he's not here. So that's what would happen with Jared Goff, is that you would have that bonus that's there. It's guaranteed if he's not here. Now, if he stays through the next 4 years, then this doesn't hurt you whatsoever. There's no risk because now there is no dead money because he's still in the contract. It's the same amount that basically he's getting paid, right? There's no risk. But if you want to go away from him, if you try to move on from him after 2 seasons, now there is that dead money because you're paying money, but you're not actually getting his services, okay? It's like going to a car wash, but the water don't turn on. That might have been the worst analogy I've ever used in my life. I am so sorry. Who goes to a wash? Hey, you ever had that? You go to a car wash and the water don't turn on? Actually, I had that car wash where I wouldn't take my dollar. That's close. Gas money. The roster bonus is not a guarantee unless they're on the roster. So you're basically putting this bonus that wasn't there on Jared Goff. So it puts you about $12 million in cap room instead of $18 million over the cap. But you don't have to restructure that much. It's still already paid him, and it's still set on the cap. So it's going to, still take effect even though he's not here. So yes, there is money that the Lions will be taking on. But the thought is, because it's a weird COVID year, that if the Lions wanted to restructure him, it could simply make sense. And I read this somewhere that basically because it's such a down year and since the league floor is set so low, that if the league salary cap goes up, which we're expecting to have happen after this season, then that $6-7 million that you spread out for each year, maybe that wouldn't be as big of a deal, because if the salary cap goes way back up, then you're kind of getting that money back. This might be something the Lions just have to do because of how weird this year is, and we could see a lot of this from certain teams. But to me, this is mainly if you want to bring back Kenny Golladay. No, it may seem like it's completely hindering the future, but it also does come into play that if the Lions are considering signing a guy in free agency this year to a core deal, for example, a Marcus Williams, a John Johnston, to a 3 to 4 year deal, where the Lions are going to want to have money this year to negotiate with, because yes, they can backload it, but they still need money for this season, whether that's Romeo Okwara, they're looking for a deal there. Tagging Golladay is the biggest one, but it could still mean, opening up the ability to sign a guy to a core deal, like a Jayon Brown, like a Matt Milano, whoever that may be. It doesn't completely say that, oh yeah, we're just completely forgetting about the future because we're doing this. That's not really what that means. It just gives you money to also, be able to make things happen this season. You don't need to save $20 million, I don't think, this year, but if you want to save a little bit with Goff's restructure and, take a little bit maybe in dead money if you have to move on from a couple years, what that allows you to potentially negotiate a contract with someone to sign to 3 to 4 years that won't be available in free agency next season, then that's something that you could consider, and it could open the door for the Lions in that way. So it's not like this is just, oh, hey, forget the future. This also could be a move looking out for the future, because you're able to find a core piece this offseason if there's someone in this free agency they like. Because yes, while you could say, well, let's just save money for the upcoming years. If there's someone in free agency this year that the Lions really like, maybe they have ties with, that won't be a free agent next season because someone's going to lock them to a long-term deal, then maybe this is where this could come into play. Not saying they have to do it, but it is something that they could look at. Now, personally, much as I hate to say it, not franchise taking Kenny Golladay might be the best bet here. It's going to be really difficult to come up with that type of money. When I did my mock off season, that was a struggle. I mean, I had to save about over $10 million for the draft. All right. And the Lions are over 8 million right now, right? Over 10 million I had to save for the draft. Then I had to sign players. Then you have to save money for the season, IR, things like that. But then you got to sign players, right? In free agency, you got to fill out the roster. I had to try to bring back Romeo Okwara. I signed Troy Hill. There's a lot of, it's really difficult to come up with this money. I saved about $29 million just through cuts, but I cut like 15 to 20 players that are currently on the roster. And obviously you got to fill that back out. Yes, you can make cuts, but it's going to take a lot of cuts. I mean, seriously, some of these guys you can't simply cut and save money. Like Jamie Collins, Big V, you're not going to just be able to cut him and save money. And really, think about it, the most you can save from one player, be it by a cut for one season, is $6.5 million. So if you could save $20 million on one restructure, that sounds great. However, I have found this out, I think, because it let me do it, that the Lions actually wouldn't have to restructure that much money. So instead of restructuring the 24 million, which is the max, I restructured 16 million. Now that puts my cap room at 5.5 million. So basically saves me 13 to $14 million for this season, which is pretty solid. And then you can see my per trade bonus is $4.625 million. So that's the bonus that I'm giving him for every single year. So for, the next years, it's $4.625 million in a guaranteed bonus. Now, I think it's also important message that I'm pretty sure the roster bonus is not guaranteed. So I don't think that would be counted against it if after 2 years the Lions wanted to go a different route. It's just that bonus that I'm signing to. So you can see if I try to cut him after 2023, not 2022, 2023, my dead money would be $9.25 million through 4 years. So I have to pay that out. So it's a little over $9 million if I cut him. If I go after in 2024, then my dead money is only $4.625 million. So it's still under $10 million if I only restructure the $16 million, which puts me at $5.5 million cap room. A little over $9 million that you would pay. It's not free, obviously, you like it when it's at zero, but it does save you, and it saves you about $13-14 million for this season alone. So it is nice in that way. So all it's doing is basically saving you money this year, putting it back a little bit. And the hope is that since there's a COVID situation and the money starts to go back up, that if the salary cap for the league goes back up, you won't feel it as much, right? It won't hurt as much because instead of being stuck at 180, maybe it bounces like 198. And they're like, oh, wow, this feels way better. The best thing that could happen with the restructure is that you restructure the money, you save money this year, but then he plays well enough where you're not thinking, okay, how do we get rid of this guy? So it doesn't hurt you whatsoever, and you still find a way to save money this season because you keep him through 4 years. That's the best case scenario. I think it's just going to be really difficult to take Golladay at the end of the day, but if the Lions are sold on they want to take Golladay, this might be something they consider because it's still, it does take away some of the out, but it doesn't completely take away the thought of doing it. It's just something to consider. I'm not one that thinks, hey, we should do all this to just go sell in and buy in for this year because the Lions aren't even doing that. So what's the point? But if you do want to structure just a little bit to make it easier for you to tag Golladay or even try to re-sign him and, hey, negotiate because you're still going to have to pay him some money this year. If you wanted to try that, same thing with Romeo, then they can restructure a little bit of it. They can restructure a little bit of the contract. But I think bringing back Golladay, then if you don't do it, it's going to be super, super difficult. So for me, like my mock-off season, I didn't bring back Golladay. So, that's just, decision you're going to have to make. Hopefully this helped you maybe in some way and understand what's going on here. If you have questions, put it down in the comment section below. It was really confusing me. I was trying to read people's articles and stuff on how this works, and I just could not figure it out. So now that I think I have a pretty good idea of how this is going to work, I thought I would share it with you. So if this helped you, let me know in the comment section below. I hope it did. Hopefully this helped you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.